Hey YouTube, I must have an email from my buddy John up there in the Adirondacks because it's snowing, and usually it don't snow unless he writes me. Hey YouTube, well it's April 30th, what a difference in the morning. Yesterday morning it was snowing, this morning it's 58 degrees and looking pretty good. So I want to cut some stuff on the mill that I have here. I think I can get some 4x4s out of there. One of the commenters had mentioned it, and actually he reminded me that I needed 4x4s to be able to set my lumber on, because I got to clean out the greenhouse so my wife doesn't get rid of me. So anyway, I'm going to see if I can get a couple 4x4s out of that thing. I'll cut some strips for my neighbor. He's making some tomato things out of that, and then I'll get on to cutting another one of them logs. Before I go too far though, I just want to say that I really appreciate you guys' comments, and I thank you for them. The thing with the rigging and stuff, you know, I didn't know how that would go over, but I'm just glad that the people viewed it and viewed it in a good light. And one of the things that one of the guys had said, you know, when you hook up a chain, you hook it up like this so that the weight on both the chain is pulling down on this hook. A lot of times guys will hook up a chain and it seems weird, but they'll hook the chain around something and it'll be in such a way that when you pull down on the weight, it actually pulls the chain and unhooks it. The bad thing about that, about hooking it upside down like that, is that sometimes it'll still pick up a load because it's caught in there from friction, and then all of a sudden as the load gets lifted, something may shift. You could spin the chain or the load or whatever, and all of a sudden this lets go. So that is a good thing that was mentioned in the comments. And the other thing I want to say to you is, whenever the machine picks a load up, the rigger is the one who has to know his job as well. So one of the things he doesn't want to do is you don't want to let the load go. In other words, if you let the load go and it ends up flopping down like this, that could cause problems for a lot of different ways. Sometimes if the crane or the machine is at its limit picking stuff up, which is dangerous to begin with, you could buckle. As I've seen crane booms buckle for stupid reasons and all kind of things, but you want to make sure that as a rigger you hold the load as level as you can, which in whatever way you can. Now if it's hooked in two places, you don't have to touch it, but if you're hooking stuff with a single line, then you definitely have to hold the load level all the time. You don't let it go from the time he picks it up, especially if it's waist high. From the time he picks it up to the time you set it in place, you want to hold it flat, because if you don't hold it flat, sometimes if you let it go, it'll bounce down on one end. It'll want to slide through the chain, and the operator may not have anywhere to go with that load, or can't react fast enough to get it off away from hitting you. So as a rigger, you need to know that. Alright, I'm going to be going on to some other stuff here now. But anyway, like I say, thanks for all them comments. I appreciate them. Bye. Alright guys, so what I got going on here this morning is I have the mill warming up, and I want to clean the blade off, and I want to do it quick. And I found out that if you spray this in front of the back bearing, and I'm going to do it from the other side, that it cleans the blade off really fast. So I'm just going to use this to clean the blade off, and then I want to sharpen it. That does a really quick job of getting all the stuff off the edge of the blade. So I do that just so I can get done here. I want to get to cutting rather than playing with this. What I did this morning was I brought my air hose over here from the garage, And I have a couple 100 feet of air hose because of all the construction work I used to do, you know, with air guns and everything. So I'm going to sharpen this blade. Now here's the thing. The blade is still cutting good, and it was cutting pine good, but there's about 400 board feet on this blade, and I want to do some more cutting. And when I feel the blade, I can run my finger over it fairly easy. I mean, it's still grabbing a little bit, but not like I would like. So I shut the machine off, and I like starting where the weld mark is so that I can, right there it is, right here, so that I can keep track of where I'm at with this. Now I don't need to mark this for set because I'm not going to set this blade. And the reason I'm not going to set it is because I didn't hit anything with it. So all I'm going to do is take the grindstone and the file. I'm going to run over the back of the tooth and from the gullet towards the cutting tip on this side. I'm just going to run that grinder in there real quick, sharpen all these teeth up, and then I'll be good for the day. And I haven't had any problems with the blades since I stopped using the ones that were kinked or hit something like a nail or whatever. So again, my recommendation is if you hit anything, if you hit your dog, if you hit one of the dogs, if you hit a nail, if you're cutting a flitch and the board tips and it causes your blade to hit the machine anywhere at all, if I was you, I'd toss that blade. It just doesn't pay to use those. Okay, so I'm going to sharpen this thing up. Let me move this guide roller over further. I can sharpen a lot more teeth before I have to rotate it this way. Say pass, one more section I meant. So that's it. Well, I forgot to turn the camera on, but I got 4 nice 4x4s you can see there out of that flitch that was at the beginning of the film or the video. So hey, this sawmill just keeps paying for itself day after day. That's all I can tell you. Okay, so you can see which one I'm going to take there. What I'm going to do this morning, since I have flitches on the waste pile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring that over a little closer with the front bucket of the backhoe, and then I'm going to turn around and use the backhoe to set it up better. here in case you want to see what's happening. I know I've done this a lot of times, but there ain't a whole lot of new stuff with a sawmill. You can see how the chain is on that side of the log. That's going to pull that log that way, so I got to be careful with this. But if I look down the mill, the chain is almost in the center of the mill. So I'm going to shorten it a little bit so I can try and get it a little closer to the center when I pick up on it. See what I was saying? The chain was over that way to pull the log over. So we're going to see how heavy it is first. That's not bad. I'm going to put my dead man on there. that's a heavy log. Now what I'm doing with that chain on the backhoe there, so you know, is I'm spinning this until the chain is in the center of the bump, keeping my hands away from the other chains and stuff in case something lets go. Because the backhoe is at the top of its boom and the crowd is all the way up, I can't really bring the log in nice, so I'm going to swing it, because the more I swing it, the further in it'll come. See, this is where if you had some help it would be nice. I'll have help soon as school lets out. So I'm going to swing it that way a little bit. I'm almost on this side of these stops. If I come down now, I'm liable to land on a stop, which I don't want to do. So I'm just going to push it that way so I can come down a little. I ought to have another rope. That's what I ought to have. But as soon as that straightens itself out now, I'll let it down. Make sure that the log, you know, I can never remember the name of this thing. I want to call it a grapple, which it's not really a grapple, but tong. You want to make sure the log tongs, that you can see them, not that they grab a hold of something, because it doesn't take much to wreck stuff. That wood that I have in that bucket, believe me, I don't want it there, but somebody's supposed to come and take it with a pickup truck, and they asked me if I could load it on. So since it's in the bucket, if they don't come in another day or so, I'm not going to keep it in there. I'll just get rid of it. Well, it's pretty close to the machine up there, but I think I could get a couple of cuts out of this. thing is so heavy I don't even want to roll it. Let me measure this. Alright, at the small end I got 18 inches. At the big end here I got 22. The thing is the way that log is laying there. Let me just measure the top here. It's about 24 there. 26. I'm not going to worry about that. I want to get this dog up. It's not touching this one. And that one there, it's not up the way it ought to be. It's only touching the back. So if I loosen that front dog up there, I should be able to get that other one up. Like I said before, you want to be careful with these logs. You never know when they're going to roll. And this one is bent sort of like this. So that means that it could roll with the heavy side that way. So I just want this stop to have some weight against it. Now I'll put this dog back on here. That's good. This is a nice sized log for the mill here. Everything should clear. I might hit right here. I gotta check it. Yeah, that looks good. Now, just to give you an idea of how much log we have on here, that's the highest point at that sawmill. Well guys, apparently the battery again went dead. I must have to buy new batteries for this thing. I have two and I've been alternating them, but I guess they're getting older. What I wanted to show you, and I don't, if it's on here then it is, but I just wanted to show you, let me grab a stick. I wanted to show you how thick this sap is on here. That stuff is sticky as well. That's why I went and I got a pair of gloves this morning to work on this a little bit. But yeah, pretty sticky stuff. But anyway, I took one cut off of that since I rolled it, and I'm pretty sure I'm down to the cant already there. You know, a lot of times guys will look at this and they'll say you can get this out of it, you get that out of it. And some of them have some pretty good eyes, I gotta tell you. The one guy with the 4x4, he was right about that. I got 4 4x4s out of it. I didn't try it myself, you know, to really worry about it. I worry about the cant. Now here's 8 foot right to these 2 knots, and you can see that after these 2 knots is where the board or the log drops down. So 8 footers, I can probably get a couple 2x4s out of there. You know what I mean? Because the thickness of that is almost 6 inches thick. So, but I'm still going to take it off, and then I'll worry about cutting that up later. Man, oh man, what a beautiful piece of wood. Check this out. 15 inch. 18 inches wide. The biggest knot on this board here, well, this here is actually a growed-in branch. I wouldn't even count that, but I will count it just for the sake of it. It's 3, 5, So you're looking at, I think, 3" they would call that. Not positive, I'd have to check it, but say 3 inches. The rest of them are, you know, you're looking at 1.5 inches there, 1.25 inches. There's a little longer one, but what a nice piece of wood this is going to be. So one cut from that already brought me to the camp. So more than the camp. So in reality, I could steal a couple of these boards off of here 1 inch thick and still have plenty of room for a 12-inch camp. There's 12 inches there. So I can actually go way down here. Yeah, I can go way down here. 15, so 1, 2, 3. I can get 3 nice 1x out of that. With that live edge on it. Although, man, oh man, that thing's probably going to be heavy for me to move around. I think I'll take 2 cuts out of this the 1-inch way and save those 2 flat boards, because you don't find stuff this nice 18 inches wide that often. I may be able to make a nice table or something out of this. I'll have to put that in my special pile. Yeah, let me cut that off. I just want to show you the sap on this end, how it's dripping out of the tree. See over there. I gotta say, a lot of people talk about the head on the Woodmizer and say that they don't like the cantilever type head. You're looking at 18 inches there, and that thing is as flat as can be. There's no rocking at all on that. It's just flat. That's all there is to it. What a beautiful cut. Hand filed. I'm just teasing you guys. What a nice board that is, yeah. I think I'm gonna have to build a vault, B-A-U-L-T, just to put my boards in. Nice. This thing should be stacked right away somewhere flat. Yeah. Well, I don't have any earrings ready yet. So saw ready. Take one more minute. I'm gonna go to get to my camp now. Man, are they nice. Now this is what I was talking about with being careful about it rolling over. Let me just show you this. Now I have two flat sides on that log. I just want to show you what I'm talking about here. I have this side and then the top side there. But here's something where you want to be careful. Now if you notice, I have this dog off here and this log already started to roll. You see how it's away from the stop there on the top? This is what you have to be careful of. Now I have the other dog on here yet, but the more I undo this, the more this log wants to roll this way. So that's when you take these dogs here and put them in such a way that they stay standing up. That'll stop the log from rolling onto you. So you'll see as I unwind this. I don't know if I have the camera just hold on a second. I gotta move this. Yeah, I took that dog off. But you can see how crooked the log is there. It started to roll back. This is where you have to be careful, because if you aren't careful and you turn your back on it and it rolls, and it can roll. It all depends on how much wood's over here. The smallest amount of wood on this side over what balanced is going to throw the log over. It could be 10 pounds, and that's, you know, could throw it on you, and you're not going to be able to run out of here fast enough. So just a little warning. But if you're careful, it's not really an issue. I'm going to try and turn that again with the cant, but I doubt if I'm going to. The backhoe is so much easier. My hands are sticky, my shirt's sticky, my belt's sticky. Everything's sticky around here. Huh. Use the backhoe. Cutting those big boards out of there might have goofed up my cant a little bit on this edge, but we'll see. Guys, what I was saying about moving the chain before, just now nobody's here, so if the chain whips around, I don't hit anybody, but just watch. You know what I'm talking about with the chain? A lot of times everything has gone well. A lot of times everything has gone well. You've moved whatever you're moving only to smack somebody with the freaking chain. So you want to be careful with that. Ow. No wonder I can't roll it. I can't even slide it.